Chapter 9, Periodic Properties of the Elements. The quote here is from Isaac Asimov. Beginning students of chemistry often think of the science as a mere collection of disconnected data to be memorized by brute force. That sound about right? Not at all. Just look at it properly and everything hangs together and makes sense. And I think that's really the challenge, is to work through all this seemingly random stuff and see how it fits together. Once you start to see how it fits together, it's actually really beautiful. It really is. Skipping chapter 9 section 9.1, you should read it, but I'm not going to test on that. Dmitri Mendeleev. So this guy gets credit for the modern periodic table. So he was looking at, and this is back in the 1800s, he was looking at the different elements that were known and trying to find some patterns and figuring out how to organize them. And so he put them in order by atomic mass and observed that there were every 8 elements, the pattern, there were similar properties. And so that's known as the periodic law. When the elements are arranged in order of increasing atomic mass, certain properties recur periodically. And so he used the patterns that he saw to predict where new elements would be discovered and what their properties would be. There were a couple places where atomic mass order didn't fit with the other properties, and so he followed the other properties. An example of this is tellurium and iodine. If we look at this on the periodic table, tellurium comes before iodine, even though tellurium weighs 127.6 grams per mole, and iodine is 126.9 grams per mole. So iodine has a smaller molar mass, and yet it comes after tellurium. And so this is where the mass order didn't fit, and they found out later why that was. It's because actually the mass is not the correct ordering principle, it's the number of protons. Most of the time those are the same. So these are some of the predictions that he made, which pretty amazing, really. So he predicted that the element below aluminum would be found. That's now known as gallium. And so he predicted atomic mass, melting point density, formula of the oxide, formula of the chloride. And he was spot on with all of those. So pretty incredible, really. So Mendeleev's periodic law tells us, or lets us predict what the properties are, but it doesn't explain why the properties exist. And that's where quantum mechanics comes back in. That's the theory that explains why those periodic trends exist, and knowing why they exist helps us to predict even better what will happen with other things.